Hello, my friends. Eric Feltus here, life coach, speaker, actor, and host of The Great Unbecoming. This is a show about stories of unlearning. What did you let go of in order to become the person you are today? And what did you gain and learn as well? This is a show about letting go of stories that no longer serve us and stepping into our own authenticity. It's about unbecoming what society says you should be and remembering who you are and who you are meant to be. So sit back, relax, and welcome to The Great Unbecoming. Hello, Ms. Courtney Rioux.
Hi.
How are you? How are you?
How are you? I'm good.
I've been enjoying starting this podcast for a while because I just really like saying your name, Courtney Rioux. How are you?
It rhymes.
Did your voice? I'm sure you've never heard that before.
No, never.
I'm the first person. Leave it to a man to tell you something about your name. I want to say if you're not on YouTube right now, then you're missing out because Courtney has the most delightful shirt on, and we'll get into why I'm going to say this, but it's basically her and my powers and purposes combined all in one shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Sag-Aftra with a beautiful, inclusive, progressive rainbow behind her. Ah!
I got it. I marched in the Pride Parade for Sag-Aftra, and I got.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. So many causes to fight for, you know?
I know it's tiring, but we have to do it.
We do. And I'm being so rude. There's an audience of people watching and I haven't even introduced my guest. So let's do that, y'all. This is Courtney Rioux. Courtney Rioux is an actor, coach, and podcast host living in Chicago. And now she's the mother of a 15-month-old. Oh my gosh. I can't even keep a plant alive. Good for you.
It's easier to keep a baby alive than a plant, in my opinion.
I'll take your word for that. I don't need to test that one out. Thanks for doing it for me.
Uh-huh.
As an actor, you may have seen her most recently as Paramedic Courtney on 8 seasons of Redacted Until the Strike is Over. So before we move on with your bio, explain to us talk to me about this. Why are we not allowed to say, why are you not allowed? Like, what's the rule here? So I understand.
So one of the strike rules is that we cannot promote any show that is made by the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, i.e. the studios. So because my show that I work on is part of the AMPTP, I can't promote it. And but if you look at my IMDb page, you can figure it out.
Yeah, and we're not going to say the name of the show, but Courtney is a paramedic on a show that rhymes with Chicago SMED. But I didn't say it because I'm following the SAG rules.
Yes, yeah.
And can I just pause for a second and tell you something that drives me crazy about oftentimes commercial auditions, and then we're going to get back to your bio.
Yeah.
I had an audition once where I was asked to bring, this is a while ago, but I was asked to bring 3 of my friends in, and it was for a Botox commercial, Courtney. So they wanted me to bring 3 friends in, all of which would be comfortable getting Botox, available for the callback and for the actual shoot dates. And I asked someone, I go, is it okay if you just partner me up with people? I don't respectfully feel it's my job to find people.
Your job.
It's not my job to do that, right?
And one of the reasons for striking on the other contract.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they said, no, they're looking for real friends. And I said, hold on a second. So you will trust me to be a heart surgeon on a show, but you don't trust that I can be an actor to friends? You don't think I can pretend to be a friend to someone?
You don't think I can make friends with the people?
And make friends? Like, I'm yelling. I'm angry.
Yeah. And
oh, gosh.
The things that they ask for in auditions.
It got to the point.
We'll get into that.
And I love my reps, but it got to the point where, like, I just felt so disrespected, and I don't have the time for that. It's not my job to find people. Anyway, we're back to you. So she's in a show. And you could also have heard her. This is my smooth transition back to your bio. Heard her voice on a Jimmy Dean commercial or seen her as the spokesperson for Hot Shot. Courtney can also be seen in, I want to make sure I'm saying it's Marlyne, right? Marlyne Barrett. Yeah. Marlyne Barrett's film, Haimerican. Courtney is also an advocate for actors. She hosts the podcast, The Whole Artist with Courtney Rioux. She She coaches actors who feel stuck in their life and career. Finally, she serves on the national board as well as her Chicago local board for Sag-Aftra and was on the negotiating committee for the TV theatrical contract, which is now on strike. With each pursuit, she seeks to inspire and empower actors to create a life of joy, freedom, and abundance. And I'll put this in the show notes, but you can also follow Courtney at Courtney Rioux. That's COURTNEYRIOUX on Insta, and reach out to her at CourtneyRiioux.com. Courtney, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Well, it's so good to see your face and to collab with you. So Courtney, we couldn't figure out which class it was, but she was actually my teacher at Actor Studio Chicago once. Fell in love with her then. Not only a talented actor, a talented coach, but everything she says about helping actors to create a life of joy, freedom, and abundance is so true. Creatives need to feel safe if they are going to create. Survival comes first, so if we are looking over our shoulder, if we feel judged or unsafe, we can't really dig down into our creativity. I've always felt safe around you, which I think is such a good gift for a coach. And it's just really nice to be on this level with you today.
Yeah. It's like
all these years
instead
later,
of the student has become the master. First, I just want to say I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing. And I remember when you came to me and you're like, I think I want to do this life coaching thing. And
that's right.
Yes, do it. Because I know you were not loving your normal person job.
Right. Like, I totally forgot about that conversation. Oh my gosh, yes. Because when I became a life coach, I don't know about you, but it started as sort of like a whisper. Like, I only want to tell a couple people that I feel safe around because I don't know. I just need to hear how it sounds. It's like planting a tree. At first, it's very fragile. We need to protect it with people that love us before we allow anyone to just trample on it, right?
Yeah, no, and even someone I told that I love dearly was kind of negative about it. And I was like, oh, and then she apologized later, but she was like, she's like, that's my own getting in the way.
Yeah, projection. Good to note that. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Okay, great. It's my own shit. But yeah, it's scary to tell people something like that, and it's vulnerable, and we're used to being vulnerable, but kind of in a different way. That's not, that's in a character or something, not like us. And this is us being us.
Yeah. And, I hear this often. I talk to so many men. This, listeners, I'm a gay life coach that helps other gay men free themselves specifically from church shame. And I talk to so many performers, and there's something so beautiful about the sanctuary that theater gives us. When we're so uncomfortable growing up in the closet, we don't know how to be ourselves. And here's an invitation to be flamboyant. Here's an invitation to be someone that you're not, and to be seen. It's almost permission to be seen as you are through the lens of someone else. I think that's one reason why so many queer people and misfits and people who don't feel they belong are so
you belong
attracted to this. You belong here.
Yeah. Everybody belongs.
And what is and I know y'all, we're going to get to the strike because we're not there yet, but please keep listening. It's most likely scarier than you think it is. Okay. There's so much at stake right now.
Yeah.
But before we get there, talk to me about your relationship to theater and to acting. How did you get involved? Why did you stay around? What was that like for you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's starting at the very beginning. I was a super shy kid. I mean, my uncle just texted me and was like, I just saw you on the news. Like, I'm so proud of you. I remember that shy little girl who would hide behind her mom's back, and I would give my relatives my forehead to kiss because I didn't want them to kiss me. And like my my sibling started dance classes when they were 8th grade. I think I was in 5th grade. And I did not want to take the dance classes because I didn't want people to watch me on the monitor. I was so shy. I didn't want people to watch me on the monitor. And then I saw their first performance, and it was in the dark theater. And there were these, my sibling wasn't even in this number, but these women were doing like Amazing Grace with these beautiful long dresses. And it was just like, I was just in awe. And I turned to my mom and I was like, I want to take dance lessons now. So in 5th grade, I started taking dance, and it really got me out of my shell. And then I started singing lessons, and then I tried out for the musical. And later my mom said, she was like, I really wanted to say no because I was so sick of driving you kids around to like activity after activity. But I'm glad I didn't. So she said yes. And I did the musicals, and then I went to college for just straight theater. I was like, I don't want to do musicals. I want to do theater, respectable theater, you know?
Pause for a second. Have you seen Theater Camp yet?
Not yet, but I really
God. Okay, so I'm not giving anything away. It's so good. It really is just an hour and a half of inside jokes for theater kids. Amazing. I'm not giving anything away because it's in the preview, but there's a point where he's explaining something. He goes, well, there's musicals and there's straight plays. And he goes, what's a I don't know what he says next, but he goes, there's musicals and there's straight plays. And he goes, so if there's straight plays, and like, what are gay plays? He goes, musicals. Right. Yeah. I totally butchered. Just to go see the movie, but it's so good. Okay. So you're an actor. You're not doing musicals. You're very serious.
I'm not doing musicals anymore. I'm a very serious actor. I want to go where Steppenwolf actors went.
Right.
So I went to school, and then I, of course, when I graduated, the only thing I was getting cast in were gay plays, musicals. So then I started auditioning for TV, commercials, commercials, industrials, that kind of stuff, on camera stuff. And I was like, oh, you can make more money doing on camera and voiceover than you can doing theater. Okay, I think I'm done with theater. So I quit theater. And I started getting into the voiceover commercial thing. And then I actually quit acting for a year. I was still doing voiceover, but I quit for a year to get my life coaching certification. And I was just kind of really burnt out with the industry as a whole. And someone talked me into coming back, and that's when I booked Schmishma Schmo Schmesh. Actually, Schmishma Schmo Schmeier, and then that became
y'all. There's like 3 shows in Chicago. If you don't know what it is, come on. Anyway,
so but it's the same role on all 3 of those.
Same world,
same world, same character. And then they started giving me a name, which is my name, and here we are today.
You've been killing it. How fun!
Thank you.
It's so fun to watch your journey.
Thank you. I was talking to one of my podcast guests about this. I'm almost at 100 episodes. Next season, if they have me back, if there is a show, I will have done 100 episodes most likely. And I was telling this person that I'm still getting billed and paid as a co-star. Like I'm getting more than scale, but I'm still co-star. And they were like, they live in LA now, and they used to live in Chicago. And they're like, my jaw just dropped. One of the things we are fighting for with the strike is geographical discrimination. And they just think because you live outside of LA or New York, they can pay you less, they can bill you with a smaller, role. They can say it's local hire when it's not local hire for LA actors or New York actors. It's just like you were talking about, there's just a lot of disrespect and dehumanizing that goes into a lot of these practices that they keep, and that we're trying in our proposals to be like, hey, hi, can we stop doing that? Because it's not cool.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's so much misinformation. I think that the general public sees, big time movie star, names and think, what are they complaining about when they're the top 1%?
Well, and they keep calling it the Hollywood actors strike as well. And I think that's the point. So the AMPTP, they own the news stations. So anytime you're seeing negative press about this, it's because it's owned by the companies we're striking against. And so to say like we're greedy actors and, oh, Hollywood actors are on strike. No, we have 160,000 members in 23 locals outside of New York and LA. So 25 locals total. It's a national union. 86% of our members do not qualify for health insurance, and it takes $26,000 a year to qualify for health insurance. So 86%.
Say that again. I need you to go back, and I need you to say this slower if you don't mind, because this is so important, and I want us to really understand these numbers.
Yeah, we have 160,000 members.
Yes.
86% of those members, and I think some are broadcast and they have their own insurance, so it's like whatever. 86% do not make the $26,000 a year that it takes to qualify for health insurance.
So not only are you living below the poverty level, 86% of actors.
Yeah.
But you are also, well, more than that, but you're also not making, you also have to shell out hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to be covered with health insurance as well.
Yeah. And so this is not Hollywood actors, the 1%. This is not like Tom Cruise asking for more money. Like Tom Cruise is fine. He will be fine forever. This is the working class actor. This is the middle class actor, even who this is the guy on TV or the girl on TV or the person on TV that you see and you're like, oh, I recognize them. I don't know their name, but I recognize them. Right.
Right.
And they are struggling. They are not making the 26,000. There's even series regulars because of the way that they make seasons like 6 episodes long. They go years between seasons, right? And like I didn't think of this before these negotiations, but they also tell you can't go, hey, series regular, you are ours. You cannot go do other work. So they're only making the money for 6 episodes and they have a 2-year break in between. Those series regulars are not making health insurance. And we're like, could you possibly like, I don't know, maybe give them health insurance or something? Like you know?
I want you to think about this, y'all. So think about your favorite show on HBO that's because oftentimes the shows that are like 6 episodes, oftentimes they are a bigger budget. So they're more well known. They pump a lot of money into advertising. I don't even know how much their CEOs make. Millions.
I have a list.
Okay.
I have a list.
Okay,
Yes, I want to start the conversation with the list of what the CEOs makes. This is from an Instagram post I reposted from Robert Reich. Netflix CEOs make 51 million and 50 million. Warner Brothers makes 39 million. Comcast 32 million. Paramount 32 million. AMC 24 million. Fox 24 million. Disney 24 million. And just in case like you can't wrap your mind around those numbers, it was posted that Bob Iger makes $74,000 a day. He's the CEO of Disney. $74,000 a day, and 86% of actors don't make $26,000 a year. So they're saying greedy actors. We're saying tone deaf CEOs who are greedy, and it's just it's out of control. It's out of control.
And we could talk about this. There's so many ways we can go with this, but I think part of the problem is the culture. And I think it starts in even before schools of like, well, you should want to be abused. Yeah. Well, if you can't handle these 12-hour rehearsals, then you're not cut out to be an actor. No, I just have self-respect. No, seriously. And not even just like theater actors or actors. Like I just read a post that was like homework for kids, like elementary school kids are being made to be in school all day and then do homework all evening, and it's like they're being trained to be workhorses who are exploited. Yes.
There's got to be a better way, and we have to unlearn like the great unbecoming of like capitalism and like who does that benefit? Who does capitalism benefit? It's not the workers.
No. And those that think it does are in a cult of innocence because we're all kind of supporting it though.
Well, yeah.
So So just again, to reiterate this, think of your favorite show on HBO. It's possible that the lead, the person, because when we say a series regular, it's someone that is more, they have a name, they're a lead, versus a co-star that might say, do you want fries with that? Or that, that might just interrupt the scene, right?
Or the guest star who is there for the episode, but not there for the season.
Exactly. Which, though, we'll talk about them as well, but we're talking a series regular doesn't even make more than it doesn't even make $30,000. Like that's insane. That's insane.
Because the in-between time. So they're making it when they shoot.
Sure. Feast and famine.
You're making good money when they shoot.
Right.
But with streaming residuals, they're not making residuals.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I don't know, what was it, 10 years ago? It was the first big streaming show with an actor we don't talk about anymore. But they said the studio said, hey, we don't know what this streaming thing is going to be. We don't know if it's going to be successful. Like, how about we just you give us a break right now and we'll talk about it later if it's successful.
Yeah. And just to break this down in case this is new for y'all, which is fine because Courtney and I think about things like this all the time. It's what we do. But the transition, Courtney, right, is from daytime, not daytime, but like live. Can you explain the difference? Yeah. What was that?
I work on a network TV show, and we have advertisements in, there's 30-minute shows and there's hour-long shows, and then you plug in, they're not really 30 minutes because there's 23 minutes and there's 7 minutes of ad, right? And so there's a lot of money being pumped into those, and we were always pretty fairly compensated. I get good residuals for Chicago Shmoshmed, and
it's funny every time.
You got to do it at least 3 times, right? So with the network TV a part of our contract, you were getting fairly compensated. Residual or streamers came along and they were like, hey, we don't know if we're going to make money for this. So we can't give you all these residuals because we just don't know. Right. And so we never got to negotiate, and we have negotiations every 3 years for this contract. So in 10 years, I think we probably had 4 negotiations, something like that. We've never gotten those residuals because they keep crying broke. They keep saying, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can afford to pay our CEOs millions and millions of dollars. We can't afford to pay residuals. Now, why are residuals important? Because these companies are making money off of our likeness, off of our image, off of our voice.
Yes.
And every time it plays, we get recognized from that, right? Some more than others. But what they're doing is and it's sometimes, especially in commercials, you have conflicts where you can't go do a Burger King commercial if you did a McDonald's commercial. So residuals is a way of saying, hey, I know you can't go do this other thing, but we're going to pay you money because we're making money. So we're going to pay you money because it's your likeness. Yes. And we're making money.
And they continue to make money after it's aired is what you're saying.
Yeah, they continue to make money after it's aired. And every time it airs.
Right.
And you can't go do this other work. So here, please have this money, right? And so it's worked for everybody.
So pause for a second, because I want to put this into perspective of Chicago. Now, you are one of the few lucky ones. You've earned it.
Thank you.
You've earned it, but also you are the same character on every show, so you have that flexibility. If I were in Chicago and I booked a co-star again, and I said, hey, do you want fries with that at a diner on, let's say, Chicago Fire? I, for 2 years, would not be able to book another role. So let's say I made $1,200, which might sound like a lot of money for one day, but also keep in mind how many auditions we have, how many classes we're in, all of the work we're doing that we're not getting paid for. It's not enough. But anyway, so I do this one co-star role on Chicago Fire. I cannot, unless they call me back as Diner Joe in any of the other shows, I can't, because it's all the same world. I cannot work on any of those shows for 2 years. That's a big deal. So keep that in mind.
Huge deal.
Another reason why they need to pay us more, but continue.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes I feel bad saying the stuff that I'm saying because I do make health insurance and I am able to pay my rent. And it's like, Okay, but there's so many of me, like you said, in Chicago and all over the country that can't. And also, if my show stopped being on network TV and was just on streaming, the money, it would stop, and they would still make money off my likeness, but I wouldn't get compensated for it. We're not asking for more money with these residuals. We're asking for the money that you stole from us, that you took away from us by saying, please give us a break. And we gave you a break, and now it's successful, and you will not pay us. Not you, Eric.
No. Well, no, I feel the fire, and I think you know this, Courtney, but I want to say it anyway. You don't need to apologize for your privilege. I think that you and I both have a lot of privilege in different areas. Yeah. Did you earn it? Yes. Is it a privilege and an honor to do what you do? Hell yes. And you are using that privilege to stand on your platform and to help other people. It's literally what you do for a living. So
thank you.
Thank you. I think with privilege comes responsibility, and you're using it wisely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. You can cry. Okay. This is a safe space. So
privilege.
Then we have people like the CEO of Disney who says that we're being selfish.
Selfish and ridiculous?
Yeah.
Was the word ridiculous?
Yeah.
Listen, I think it's ridiculous that you make $74,000 a day exploiting workers, because that's millionaires and billionaires. Billionaires do not get to be billionaires without exploiting someone else's work. It's just the way that it is. There's literally no way that you could go to work every day and make $1 billion on your own. You can't. And so you make $1 billion because you're not paying people enough. And CEO pay has grown, I think it's something like 1,700% since the 70s, whereas minimum wage is still stuck at like $7.25 in some places. You can't even buy a Starbucks for $7.25 anymore. Like that, it's not a livable wage. $75,000 a day is pretty livable, I would say. Like, it's just ridiculous.
It's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. And then not only on top of that, like there was that article that was saying that these studios were just saying, well, the end game is to just wait it out till the writers and actors become homeless.
Yeah.
And then these are the people that we're dealing with. I just don't understand how you can be so tone deaf, not realize how shitty that sounds. And then Universal trimmed the trees around their lot so that picketers would not have shade.
In LA.
In LA. They're not even the ones the city trims those trees. They need to have a permit. They didn't get a permit. They trimmed the trees. And then there was backlash on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, internet. And then they donated tents to put up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's like, okay, you stole our money, and then we're asking for our money back, and you're not giving it to us, but you also stole our shade. But okay, you could have these tents. Thank you.
Yo, I know it's like, this is just a drop in the bucket compared to everything else, but look these pictures up. It's absurd. Like brutally
hacked.
They're naked. I'm actually striking at Universal tomorrow, so I'll make sure I wear my hat. Oh yeah.
Yes, wear your hat. Bring a water for your body and your soul,
everything. So this is only a half of his residuals. Should we even crack open the beast, the Pandora's box of AI?
Oh God. Okay, there's 4 things actually. So before we even get to AI, I just want to quickly say the 4 things.
Sure.
The first thing is the economics of it all. So like minimums, keeping up with inflation with minimums. They're saying they're giving us a historic 5% raise. Well, that doesn't cover, like I would be making less than I did in 2020 if we're talking about inflation here, which we could call it greedflation, I think. And just like being squeezed out, like they're looking for ways to cut us out of everything, like shorter seasons, longer periods in between seasons, paying actors across the country less. Like there's so many ways where they're trying to squeeze us out of the money that they used to pay us. Then there's the residual streaming, which we talked about, and we're asking for 2% revenue share. That's nothing, 2%. And they won't even talk about it. They would not talk to us about our most important issues. Like, we want to go back to work. They're the ones who are not coming to the table and who wasted the 12-day extension we gave them. Anyway, tangent. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's strategically and intentionally ignoring, pushing, hoping for us to be homeless, kicking the can down the road.
Yes, exactly. And also so they could promote their precious movies, because they knew we were going to say you can't promote. So the third thing is self-tape boundaries. So like things that you were talking about in the intro, we were asking for like, hey, can you maybe for a first audition not give us 12 pages? Or and Eric, I was on the Zoom.
So angry.
I was on the Zoom when we were across the table from the AMPTP, and some of them were in the room and some of them were on Zoom. And the people on the Zoom, like, I'm going to explain it and I'm going to do it for the YouTubers and for the listeners, is like arching back, head rolling, oh, these people, they're asking for so much. And it's like, can we please not do auditions on weekends and holidays? Can you please actually give us information when we're auditioning for something like, I don't know what genre it is or what type of character it is? And they're like, well, if we tell you that it's an elf, you're going to know it's for a certain thing. Or if we tell you it's a superhero, you're going to know it's for, so you can't know. And then it's like, how do we do a good audition?
Setting us up for failure. And y'all, just to give you some perspective, because this happens all the time, it can be an audition and we have 2 days to do it and it's 12 pages. Keep in mind, most actors don't make enough to get health insurance. So I think you have to have other jobs. You are working sometimes 2, maybe even 3 jobs. Places like LA, where I'm at, is not cheap. Chicago's not cheap either. And in between jobs or on your lunch shift, you have to be memorizing these lines, and then you have to give them a pristine self-tape with someone else in the room being a reader for you.
Yeah, you have to be the casting director and cast someone else as your reader and ask a friend to be put out.
And get 12 pages off book.
Yeah.
No problem.
No problem. Anyway. And probably do 3 takes or something so you can at least have one good take to send them. Like,
at least. Yeah. So obviously it's not an unrealistic ask to maybe bring it down to 3 pages.
Listener, there used to be a thing called callbacks where if they liked you and they wanted to see more, they would call you in for more. But now they're like, well, it's tape. They could just do it and then we could just have it if we need it. But I feel like most casting directors and producers can tell if they want you in the first 7 seconds or not.
Yes.
So having us do 12 pages and then being like, not really, and move on after 7 seconds.
It's incredibly disrespectful.
Our time is worth money, and we're the only ones not getting paid to audition. Everybody else is getting paid their salary for their job.
Yes.
We are not.
Right.
And
some perspective as well, y'all, is like, how scary it is to not know, like, to be out of work and to have interviews, right? Think of an interview as being an audition. We are not actors. We are professional auditioners, most of us, 95% of us. So we don't know when the next paycheck is coming, right? So it's audition after audition after audition, and you just let it go and you move on to the next one. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And some actors are going on 3 to 10 auditions a week. Like, imagine going on the most ridiculous, vulnerable job interview 3 to 10 times a week for the rest of your life. Like, that's what we do.
And you know what? We learn to love it. It's a part of the job. We have to find the joy in it. But also, this is why we're on strike, is to fight for some of these things.
Yeah, we just want some boundaries. We just wanted some respect. Yeah. Self-tape boundaries. And then finally, the scariest piece of it all. And this is when I keep saying, and this is something Sag-Aftra has said, we're fighting for the survival of our industry. And this is a global issue. This is not just a Sag-Aftra issue or a WGA issue, the Writers Guild of America. AI, there is technology that exists today, and there's actors in this negotiating room saying, I've been scanned. I have gone to work, and they've said, okay, now we're going to scan your body. And they do a scan of your body, and they create an AI version of you that, for now, it's like if you die, they could finish the movie. Okay, fine. That sounds great. But what they want to do, this is the example I'll use because it's pretty scary. They want to pay background actors who they treat as less than human, half a day's pay, and they just want to use their AI digital image, their likeness for the rest of time without consent or compensation. They're going to get rid of background actors. Now, there's a lot of things wrong with that. One being the end of background actors. They're part of our union. They deserve to have a job. And I'm acting with background actors. Like I don't want to act
your environment.
It's a whole environment, right? I don't want to act to nothing. Costumers, costume background actors. Most of the time they do their own hair and makeup, but sometimes if it's specialty background actors, they have their hair and makeup done. That's someone else's job gone. Catering caters to them. That's someone else's job gone. The fabric maker who makes their costumes, that's someone else. I mean, it's just a domino effect that really, starting with the livelihood of the background actor, just like disappears. And we don't even think about, I never even thought about that before when it comes to I just thought about that background actor losing their job, but it's so much more than that. And it doesn't end with background actors. They want to have your digital likeness to use. They want Tom Hanks. They want to make movies with 19-year-old Tom Hanks for the rest of time. And that just ends all of our careers.
And not only does it end,
they don't want to get your consent. They don't want to compensate you. That's all. Go ahead.
No. We're on the same page. And I just wanted to say, I interrupted you, but I want to say it's not just that it would end our jobs, but how violating to think that your likeness can be stolen. That would be that's no different than plagiarism. That's taking a book
AI,
that you,
AI is plagiarism software. That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. And don't get me wrong. I know I post a lot of videos on TikTok, which is scary as hell because that is not, we don't have any regulation over that. That is not an app in this country, so we can't regulate it. Someone else has my likeness. If we're on social media, they have your likeness, period.
They have your likeness, yeah.
And without protections like what SAG is working towards right now, they can continue without those protections to use your likeness in movies, or just think about how they can also violate you in other ways with your likeness.
I mean, Tom Cruise was one of the first actors that was being used with this, the deep fakes. And he spoke to us and he was like, that is it's dehumanizing to see yourself being used. And it looks so real and it sounds so real. And it's this is a human problem. This is not just an actor problem or a writer problem. It's a human problem.
Yes.
And, we have protections in place through copyright infringement. And so there's some workaround there where I think Sarah Silverman is suing for ChatGPT stole her book and used her book to train ChatGPT to sound like a human. So there's that sort of protection, and she's going through a lawsuit right now. But we actually really need federal regulation to come in and help, because these greedy CEOs are not going to give it up on their own. They're like, well, we just want, they wouldn't even talk to the WGA about it. They barely talked to us about it. They waited the whole time, our whole negotiation. And at the last day, they were like, here's the AI proposal. It's oh, cool. Thanks. We really haven't enough time to look over this. Thank you so much. And we gave them in the beginning, a huge, great detailed AI proposal, and they just made their own. And we're like, actually, we really want some more options here. And then they were like, well, we're not. So Duncan Crabtree, Ireland, our lead negotiator, was like, so in this, it seems like you could just use the background actor's digital likeness forever in perpetuity without paying them. And they're like, yeah, but we wouldn't. And it's okay, if you wouldn't, put it in the contract.
Right.
Because I highly doubt that you're going to say, oh, gosh, we really shouldn't do that, so we're not going to.
It's absurd. Yeah. Not only does the government need to get involved because people's lives and jobs are at stake, but just think of the global economy. Think about all of the
I mean,
jobs that will be lost if they
it's so
win.
scary. It's so
very
scary.
Yeah.
And we're not being hyperbolic. It's like,
Mm-mm.
I think it's the scariest. I mean, well, climate change is pretty scary as well, but um, I just think about my kid and I'm like, how are you going to make money? How are you going to live on this planet? It's it's just so scary.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for
Yeah,
another.
okay, bye guys.
It is. I mean, I don't even know where to go from there, but I want y'all to be scared because, you know, I remember once the first time that he who shall not be named won the presidency. I was very, very angry. I was just in a really angry state. And my mom said, you know, what can you do? Can you volunteer? Can you give back? Can you do something? She helped me to realize that when I'm feeling hopeless and feeling rage, part of it is because I feel helpless.
Mm-hmm.
So I started volunteering, and it totally transformed the way I view the world and helped me to see humanity in a more beautiful light. That being said, people who are not in SAG, what can non-actors do to support?
Oh gosh, well, you can keep sharing our social media posts because you know, like I said, the news corporations are owned by the companies we're striking. And so, like, I think CBS posted this thing about our Chicago rally, and they were like, 120 people were there today. And I was like, there was way more than 120 people at this rally. Like, I didn't count, but I could tell there was more than 120 people. Okay.
Yeah, wow.
So keep sharing the things that actors are sharing, keep sharing our stories. And you know, talk to people about it. It's not a rich, greedy actor thing. It's working class actors who want to make a living doing something they love. And I think, you know, one of the unbecoming things we all have to learn to like unravel in our mind is that we have to like grind at something we don't like for a living. And just because actors are doing something that we love doesn't mean that we don't deserve to be paid for it, and doesn't mean that
we don't work hard.
that we don't work hard. Yeah, exactly. And that there's a lot of things we don't like about our work, but the thing we do love might be like connecting with other humans or telling stories, things like that. Those are creative labor is labor. So, you know, just because something's creative doesn't mean it's not work or labor, and doesn't mean that we shouldn't be compensated. But anyway, another tangent. Okay. Something else you can do is you can go to the Entertainment Community Fund or the Sag-Aftra Foundation. And if you have a few dollars to spare, that would be great. Those funds are there to help actors and performers and workers like the crew who are out of work right now. Thank you to all the crew out there. We appreciate you. Thank you for being with us as we're on strike. The writers, you know, they can go to these places and get money to pay their bills, to pay their rent. And I think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just donated like a 7-figure amount to
He did, yeah. I
Entertainment
saw that.
So that's so amazing. But like every little bit helps. And there's going to be a lot of people out there who are out of work and who need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think just sharing stories, and if you can donate money, that would be great. Can you think of anything else, Eric? Show up to the rally, show up to the pickets. You don't have to be a member to do that.
How open are you to people contacting you if they want more information on this? Is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Yep. Just y'all remember, you know, if you think that this doesn't matter or that doesn't change your life, I want you to think about when you were out of work at the beginning of the pandemic. What did you do? What comforted you? What shows did you watch? After a long day of work where all you want to do is unwind, what do you do when you sit on the couch? What TV shows do you turn on? Who is a part of your family through storytelling, through the screen? This is a community and we need your help. And that being said, if you go to Courtney's Instagram page, at the very top, you will see a button to donate to the Entertainment Community Fund. And the day this podcast comes out is August 3rd in the morning, August 3rd, which is a Thursday. At any point in time on August 3rd, anyone that donates to Courtney's link through Courtney's Instagram page I will match it up to $500. Life Coaching by Phelps will match it up to $500. So
Amazing.
Spread the news, send this podcast to people. Courtney encouraged people to donate on August. Well, you can always donate before.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not going to see this before. This is coming out
You're right.
3rd. But if you listen to this on August 3rd and you donate to her link in Instagram on August 3rd, I will match it up to $500. So spread the word, tell
Thank
people
you.
about it. And I'm so grateful for you, Courtney. Thank you for being
I'm
here.
grateful for you. Thank you. You're doing important work, and I'm, like I said before, I'm just really proud of you, and the world needs you.
Amen. The world needs you too.
Thanks.
See you soon, y'all. Bye.
Bye.